Hey, Kids Clubbers. A few weeks ago, you met a couple of missionaries. One of them was Kathy Mizen, and she serves in Honduras. And you might remember her telling you about the ministries that she has there with Schools of Hope. And you might remember her talking about her desire to share the hope of Jesus with the people of Honduras. Well, Kathy is with us today. She's actually not in Honduras. I'll let her maybe share where she's at today. But she's going to share with us a little bit of how she came to know the hope of Jesus herself. So, Kathy, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you came to know the hope of Jesus?
Hi, boys and girls. It is so great to see you, even if it's for video. It's great to be able to share this with you. I am actually in Canada right now, where my family lives. I'm visiting, but I actually became a Christian. I accepted Jesus as my savior when I was 7. I grew up in the church. My parents, we went to our church in our town, and I was really involved in all of the programming. And I remember having missionaries come to my church, and I remember special speakers always talking about Jesus. And when I was 7, I decided that I wanted to make a commitment to serve Jesus. And I got involved in our programs. In youth group, I was really involved and was praying for God to give me some direction about what I wanted to do with my life when I got older. And that's when I was in youth, that's when God kind of told me that he wanted me to be a missionary and go to Bible college. And so my journey started when I was a kid, because I saw other people living lives for Jesus. And I thought, hey, I want to be like that. I remember meeting a missionary and thinking, that's what I want to do one day. And so all of that kind of brought me to knowing Jesus, reading my Bible, praying, and getting to know God more, and what his desire is for us as Christians.
So then how did God take you from where you were to being a missionary in Honduras?
So it's a little bit of a journey, but when I was a teenager, I felt God wanted me to do that. So I went to Bible college, and I always had a heart for missions and always a heart for kids. And when I went to college, somehow my plans didn't go the way God's plans were. And I ended up being a children's pastor in Canada for 17 years. But during that time, I went on different missions trips to different parts of the world. And I actually went to several countries. It started with you, just for some weird facts. I went to Uzbekistan, Ukraine, Uruguay. And every time I went on those trips, I would say, God, like, do you want me to come back here? Is this where you want me to be? And I never felt that God said yes. I always felt like, no, it's time for me to go back home. But in 2014, I went to Honduras for 3 months to kind of see what we do there with School of Hope and find out more about the country. And while I was there, I asked God that exact same question. I said, God, is this where you want me? And I was in a church service and everyone was singing in Spanish. And all of a sudden, I just felt a peace of God just come over me. And I heard God say, not like audibly, not out loud, but I just felt in my spirit, God say, this is where I want you. And from that moment on, I decided that was my time. So I started working out all the details of what it would look like to leave my country, to move to a whole new world, new language, everything. And within 8 months, I was back to Honduras, and I came back, and I will be celebrating 7 years in a couple of weeks. And it's exciting because I felt like it was a step of faith that God said yes, but then it was my chance to be obedient and say, okay, I'm going to do this. And so, yeah, that's how God called me to be a missionary in Honduras.
Very cool. And so you never know, kids, God might call you to serve in the mission field. And maybe even now, as you watch these videos and as you learn from the missionaries this year, God might be speaking to you. Now, it might not happen like next year or right after high school, but at some point, God may put you in a place where you can serve him. And it may be someplace you've never even thought of yet. And so keep that in mind, and keep praying for Kathy and for Bruce and Linda and for the camp as we go forward through this club year.